Angus is the GM for UK for Valitor for Omni-Channel Solutions.
Hi everybody, some very serious faces looking at me, I can see. So, thanks for the plug there for Valitor, Paul, very kind. So today we're going to talk about bringing Omni-Channel into focus. The channel hopper. Who is this channel hopper? How do they shop? How do they want to shop? And how can we, as suppliers to retailers and as retailers, help us make more money? So we're going to take a look at the consumers themselves. We've got some data that is actually hot off the press, not yet released. And then we're going to take a look at how retailers can help combat the issues with allowing consumers to make payments in this omni-channel world. I love this phrase, a consumer cul-de-sac, which was coined by our head of marketing. This conjures up so many things for me, from my wife, who often goes into shops, loads her arms with clothes, goes to make a payment. She can see there's a big queue. Actually, she drops them on the floor. Not quite, not that rude. But she turns around, she doesn't make that payment. That's a cul-de-sac, it's a problem. She can't make that payment because she doesn't have the time. This isn't just the case for transactions, this is also the case for returns. If someone wants to make a return but they can't, it's a terribly bad experience. This is something which is terrible for a retailer to have in any way, a consumer cul-de-sac. Foreign payments for us in the UK, so European payment methods and mechanisms. Someone goes onto a website, they want to make a purchase, oh, don't have that payment method available. This is the consumer cul-de-sac, and it conjures up lots of different pictures. So what do consumers really want? It's quite simple. They want to buy when they want, what they want, how they want, where they want, and they want to be able to return in the same way. Payments, and we all think about payments in this room, we're probably the only ones. The consumer doesn't really think about payments, and the key here is they should be absolutely invisible. Not seamless, invisible. A consumer shouldn't think about those at all. They don't want to. They just want to buy and go and have a good experience. Some research that we've had carried out, this is the hot off the press stuff, and this was 2,000 consumers and information from them, and we tried to gather how much do they like the high street. The high street is known to be, or thought to be, dying. 50% of consumers said, well, they still like the high street, it's okay, they don't mind it. They value the price they get on the high street. They value being able to try things on, shoes, clothes, etc. And they reckon they're going to get good quality on the high street. The other 50% say that it's boring and outdated. So what can we do to change that? Social media. This is having perhaps the biggest impact on the high street. The way that people shop and choose to shop across the generations. My mother's Christmas present was a smartphone. She's 80 years old this year. So she is going to start to become a channel hopper, something she's never been before. Whether we'll get her on social media is a different question. But lots of people are now shopping, they're searching, they're sharing via social media, be it WhatsApp, be it Facebook, be it any form of social media, Instagram. They're sharing with friends, with friend groups, in store, they're taking snaps. They're then going back to make that purchase either online, via a mobile app. It's completely changed the way in which the shopping journey works and will continue to change. Paul touched on this earlier, actually, the different generations, but the most important one to focus on, the one we thought most interesting from our interviews of 2,000 consumers, is Generation Z. We actually did this piece, it was called The Christmas Shopper, and who is planning to spend more up to Christmas just gone. We know that it was believed to be a relatively disastrous year, but who was planning to spend more of all the generations? It was Generation Z. That's a generation who lives at home for longer than any other generation has. They're working, but paying little or no rent. So they have a large disposable income in comparison with previous generations. And they said, of all of the generations, they were going to spend more than the Christmas just gone. A really interesting fact when you consider the wealth of the other generations that precede them. I wanted to touch a little bit on brands and requirements. I think we all talk about Omni-Channel, and it's something perhaps believed to be this utopia, one single journey, the perfect journey for all brands, one journey that everyone can adopt, and that's it, it's done, it's sorted, all consumers are happy. Not the case. Retailers need to think about their demographic. Who's buying their goods? Who's shopping there? Who wants to become an advocate of their brand? Who wants to shop with them? I go to Primark, I'm not looking for the same experience as I am in Louis Vuitton. If I'm going to spend £5,000 on a handbag, probably I want a cup of coffee, maybe even a glass of champagne. Not the case with Primark. In fact, I was talking to Paul Marchant from Primark just before Christmas, and talking about what he believes is his omni-channel journey. He's very specific about that. He allows people on the Primark website to sign up, have a login, they can share photos, pictures of Primark goods, stuff they're wearing, they can share with other people on that site. Nowhere can they make a purchase. That brand wants to drive people in store. He calls that an omni-channel journey, is allowing people to interact online via mobile, but nowhere can they buy online. He believes that people coming to store means they increase their basket value, and it's a greater success for the brand. Different journeys, different requirements, different brands. The one thing we've learned from all of this, and the research that we've carried out with these consumers, is that the most important thing is customer experience. Don't necessarily have to have an omni-channel journey if that's not what your brand needs to have, but the customer experience is everything. And for those of you who were listening yesterday to Christine Bailey from Valitor's talk yesterday morning regarding customer experience, we actually coined a phrase called APEX, the after payment experience. I got that wrong. It's the after payment emotional experience. She's now got a thumbs up here. But people here, you can see at the top, 22% of people would rather travel out of their way to get a good experience. That says quite a lot. Are there a lot of brands who are delivering an average, maybe less than average experience, and thinking that omni-channel is absolutely the way to go? I don't believe it's necessarily the way. So we've done all this research with the consumers, 2,000 of them. We also carried out some research with 200 retailers. We wanted to know, were the consumers right, and were retailers actually reacting correctly to what consumers wanted? 61% of retailers cited that payments were a core part of their business strategy. That's a high percentage. And you can see there, if you take the top 4, they are marketing related, and the 5th is customer experience related. So this is something really recognized by retailers as being a very important part of their overall business strategy. Now, when you think about that, and you look at these stats we've got up here, from the same 200 retailers, I couldn't quite believe my eyes when I saw that only 23% of those retailers, 61 of whom had recognized that payments was a core part of their strategy, only 23% even had an omni-channel solution in place. And 18 in progress, with over 50% not even in progress, maybe thinking about it. That says a lot about how retailers judge what is important and how they actually act on that importance. More scarily was the 41% on the right-hand section of that slide. They couldn't make the business case to put in place an omni-channel solution. Yet 61% say that it should be a core part of their strategy. Doesn't make sense to me. So what should omni-channel success look like? This is what we at Valitor believe it should look like. On the left here is an example of multi-channel. There's nothing wrong with multi-channel if that's right for your brand. And this here displays online payments, in-store payments, and telephone payments. It's multi-channel. You're allowing consumers to buy via those channels, but you don't have a single view of the customer. And this is the most important thing. On the right-hand side, you can see every possible channel, including social media, which drives a retailer to have a single view of that customer. You can start tracking that customer. With the right integrated retail platforms, you can use payment data from all of those channels to track the consumer, what they're shopping for, when they're shopping, what times of year they want to buy it, are they only buying in the sale, when should you give them another offer, when should you not have a sale because people are going to buy anyway, etc., etc. The list goes on. But really, an omni-channel solution, a successful omni-channel solution, will give a retailer a single view of that customer and lots of data that they can choose to do with what they want. So what does a real omni-channel payment solution look like? To us, it's this. It's a built-for-purpose point-of-sale platform merged together by a secure, encrypted tokenization with a fit-for-purpose and built-for-purpose e-commerce platform. This allows a retailer to give consumers the ability to transact via any channel they want to, and it pulls all of that rich data back into these all-important retailer platforms and solutions, allowing them to do with this data what they wish and get a single view of the customer. What does it mean for pan-European retailers? I'm not going to read through all of those bits on there. You can read for yourselves, but hopefully it means success. Hopefully it means that they'll get a better idea of what their customers want, where their customers are shopping, how they're shopping, when they should reduce goods or not, whether they should be looking to open stores in different regions, open websites facing different regions, whether they even need alternative payment methods, or whether all of their consumers have Visa and MasterCard or are looking to pay via a bank transfer using a PSD2 certified payment method. It means that retailers should have a single view of their customer. It's really quite simple. Just to show that hopefully this doesn't come from nowhere, here's a quick snapshot of some of our customers. We're providing a multitude of different solutions to those customers, but hopefully gives an idea that we're not just making things up. And then just before I close off, excuse me, a little bit more on the menu. Please do follow Valitor on Twitter. I've recently started a Future of Retail Payments group on LinkedIn, so please join. I don't know everybody in the room, but I'll assume that if I get lots of requests to join the group, that this is where it comes from, so please do request to join, and I'll obviously accept that. The idea is that we get retailers, suppliers to the industry, talking lots, sharing views, ideas, thoughts on Omni-Channel, on payment strategy, etc. Please do go onto our website and download the various reports that we've had done. There are more coming out, as you can see there, so various in March. Apex, this after-payment emotional experience, which is being coined by us, is something which is hot on the agenda. So please do have a look at those. Thank you.